Hi. Today, I wanted to talk to you about finding inspiration to create a song. There are all kinds of ways that I find inspiration when it comes time for me to create a song. Most of my songs are of what I would mostly call an improvisation. They are kind of made up on the spot, what I'm feeling at that moment. That said, quite often something comes to mind for me in something to create that initial little spark to try to get that fire going. That little spark is what I'm going to talk about today. And I'm going to kind of walk you through the process of a song that I made after I had got that spark in mind. That spark happened for this song, for me, quite a ways back. I did this video where I had gotten a new to me reverb effects pedal because my old one, let me see if I can bump this up. My old one was a Flamma FS02 reverb effects pedal because I wanted to add different reverbs to my music. Very, very affordable. It was like $60 or $70, I believe. Beautiful sounding reverbs available. And I was really, really happy with it until I tried one thing, which was to stick a delay pedal in front of it, running stereo out in a ping pong setting so that the delay went ding, 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 left and right. When it went into this pedal, because it has stereo inputs, I figured that should work. Went into the pedal, and then the pedal, for some reason, mixed them back into mono, and then I brought stereo out, and only the reverb was being offered in stereo, not the main signal going into it. That stereo was not in effect anymore. So I got the Hall of Fame 2 from TC Electronics, hoping that that was going to resolve that issue. And that was really the only issue I had with the other pedal. So what I did, let me go, let's see. Okay, right about here is where I started testing to see if it was going to do the stereo thing for me. As you can tell, that's what I want. That was exactly what I was looking for. It did produce the ping pong effect through the reverb pedal and adding reverb to each side of that stereo effect. And this part I started to get into just some inspiration from the sound. And this is where it started to take hold and developing a little spark of a musical idea. And now I'm starting to refine that idea a little bit. And I really was liking what I was hearing, and that was just creating inspiration as I was playing here. So I went back about 4 days ago, and I revisited this video. And I started to create a music video and I started with a guitar. And let me see if I can find that in a different scenario here. Just a second. Should be this video. Yep. So I got everything set up. I got my little recording studio in the other corner of this room set up, which means I have to take this computer over there and set up GarageBand. I set up my other camera, which is a Nikon D7000 for the actual video portion of it, but I'm recording all of the audio directly into the computer using GarageBand through an interface. I plug my guitar directly into the interface and I set up the sounds that I need in there for the guitar or bass or whatever the case may be. If I'm using a microphone, I use a regular audio setting with some parameters that I can easily adjust in there. So here I'm using an electric guitar, get things set up, ready to play. And I did drums first, and then I added guitar, which the guitar part should come in right. Well, I'll just start the whole thing at the beginning. I'll start at the beginning, but I did the guitar part first with drums. And then I added the bass after the guitar part was done. But the guitar part is going to come in right about now. I changed key from my original spark of an idea from A to F sharp. And the reason I did that was because I just gotten a couple of F sharp flutes recently, maybe 3, and I had one in mind, which turned out not to be the one I used. I added the bass because I wanted that bass to come in with a good representation of a beat with a little bit of a melodic sense to the beat, and I brightened the bass attack because I didn't want it buried in the mix. So that little part on the guitar that I just did, you can kind of get a glimpse from that other spark of an idea. I'm kind of fanning the flames right here to get it to ignite. So the guitar part came from an initial idea that I got while trying out that effects pedal, that reverb effects pedal. I had practiced it just a little bit to make sure that I had the idea in mind and that I could kind of represent that idea on my guitar playing. I grabbed a different guitar. Set up all my controls and everything in GarageBand, and I went for it. And it was pretty much just, I created a super basic drum track so that it would give me a beat that would inspire me also, and would give me something other than a click track to keep my timing down correctly. And I did the whole thing with the guitar. And then I came back and I added the bass. Both of those parts were, for the most part, improvised after I had the basic idea. The bass part, I did not do any kind of a practice session, a trial. All I did was tune up the bass. I knew what key it was. I was mainly focusing on that F sharp, but I was also doing kind of going into kind of a second and a fourth on that. And so I knew the basic patterns from the guitar. I could do the bass and do kind of a following with the bass, but the bass line, I just kind of made it up as I went. I really liked the way it turned out. It was one take on both the guitar and the bass. In the guitar part, there is one little thing I would call a mistake, but it was minor enough that I didn't care. I just left it there. It might offend some people. I believe in leaving your mistakes in there because it adds to, I feel, the excitement of the live music. This is all basically live music. Then I went and grabbed a flute. I played this track through with the bass, with the guitar, the bass. I removed the original drum track and I recreated a drum track to follow the bass playing. So the digital drummer will play in time, but it will try to follow what that bass player track is doing. So I did that, and I set up the parameters, the start and stop on that. And then I added the flute, and I'll start it right about here and go big. And there's my overlay deal. I'll leave a link on how to do the overlay. Turn down the volume on that just a little bit. The first flute I grabbed, I didn't like the way it was responding to what I did, and I played it for maybe 20 seconds, and then I grabbed another newer flute. In fact, this is the newest flute that I own right at this moment. And the flute is a complete improvisation. Again, I had just laid down the guitar track, improvised on that, improvised on the bass track. I knew the basic way that the song was going. I made up parts as I went with the flute because some of the parts are repetitive. So I try and remember a melody line, repeat it, and I might change it just a little bit like I did right there. Here's another little one. On this song, I left spaces, bigger spaces in between my flute playing. Some of my note choice is honestly pure accidental, and it blended, I think, really, really well on this. Just little flourishes that I add in there for accents. Almost repeating that part again. Moving the same structure but up on the flute and then coming back down. As the guitar builds, I went up on the flute a little bit higher. Another new statement on the flute. Repeated with a little variation. then moving up on the flute, then bringing it back down. This is a theme throughout the whole song, that da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. This is coming up on the end. So, the inspiration was, the spark was the sound that I was getting from my electric guitar, trying that new reverb pedal and hearing the stereo imaging. On this track, I did use that stereo imaging, panning it hard left, hard right. And so that kind of encompasses the whole thing and gives body to the song. The bass line is just helping to keep the rhythm and timing down with that in a melodic sense also. And I brightened that attack through GarageBand in the type of amp that I used. And the flute for me takes the place of a vocalist, or a lead instrument creating the overall melody. The other instruments here are just creating a background or a backing track, if you will, for me to grab a flute and have it sing over. So in my mind, that flute is taking the place of a singer, but it's doing the exact same job. It gives the story in the music. Hopefully. And hopefully you like the story. So I'm going to release this video after I release the music video on my YouTube channel and share that with my friends. But I wanted to do kind of a tutorial on how I create my music, the thoughts that I go through, and kind of what's going through my head in each part of it. So I had that little spark with the guitar. Kind of fanned it a little bit to get those embers growing. And I created the guitar part on here just with a bare bones drum section of approximately the timing that I wanted, and I honestly, I wasn't paying that much attention to it other than the timing. I wasn't paying attention to the start and finish on my guitar. In fact, I let the drums go for a little bit first because I knew I wanted to have a bass, and I wanted the bass to start the song with the drums. The drums actually start, the bass comes in, then the guitar, and then the flute in between, just with a little flourish to grab your attention, and then the guitar starts the body, if you will, of the backing track to get that feel going, and that ignited my fire. That got the embers going. The flute, when I play my flute over the top of any of these, as I said, I try to think like a singer, especially for this kind of music where it is more of what I call a fusion type. This song is a combination of ambient guitar with kind of a slightly heavier rock beat, but it gives you that ambient in the mix. And I hope that comes across. With the flute, I wanted it to, yes, be center stage, but I also didn't want it overpowering everything else. So I tried to play what I felt the song needed. That all comes from listening, and I was doing nothing but listening while I was doing each and every track. What do I need to play here? What's going to sound good? You know, what should the next measure be on my guitar part? What should I do on my electric bass to not overpower, but to accompany the guitar, to be friends with that guitar, to kind of walk hand in hand, if you will, with the guitar, to become a whole. And then I took out that drum track that I first created just as a guide, and I recreated a drum track to blend better with the bass playing and the song as a whole. And I had to kind of change the start and stop a little bit, so I got a little bit of a drum intro and an ending, a drum ending for the song after I did my guitar and flute ending. You do hear the bass, the last note fading out from the bass and the guitar a little bit after that last drum ending. So I hope this helps. Let me know if there's anything else that you might be wondering about in how I make my music. How can I help you in your journey of making your music? I'd love to try and be of help there. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Click the little bell down over there also so that you can be aware the next time that I post a video. It could be a tutorial like this. It could be a music video. It could be looking at a flute either for the first time or more in depth and looking at one of the flutes from my collection. So again, I hope this little tutorial has helped. I hope that you have gained something from this, at least envisioning what I envisioned, starting from that one little teeny spark of an idea and fanning it into flames. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. Take care.